And the first thing has to be the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, which says you can express yourself freely, and it doesn't say that that expression has to be in English. And quite frankly, those who wish to speak in a foreign language in the United States of America and the great state of Texas have the absolute right to do so. But then you also have the question of we're trying to educate these children, and we need them to be educated in the language that we're speaking so that our teachers have the ability to bring them forward, Mustafa Tamiz. Just so many issues here. Question becomes, was it warranted to fire this teacher who simply said, we're not going to speak Spanish on this campus?
Well, just think of that statement. Somebody who gets onto the PA system as the principal of your school and says you're not allowed to speak your native tongue in this school, not in your classroom, not during the course of education. We're not trying to change, what the curriculum will look like, but when you're speaking to other students during lunch hour, you're not allowed to do that. And that just doesn't make any sense. And that, it sends the wrong message to our kids, and I think it's also the wrong policy. We live in a global market, and I think that we should be able to speak other languages.
Jackie Bally, Teresa Corona posted on my Facebook page yesterday and said, let me play devil's advocate, and what would you do if you were in a foreign country? Would you want your children to be able to speak to other children in their native language?
I can tell Teresa exactly what we did, because I came here when I was at the age of 7, and I also got an email from a young woman who's Spanish, and she came to this country at the age of 10. And what our parents did was that they wanted us to totally immerse into the American culture, and English was the only language that was spoken in our house because we came to America for a reason. This is political correctness gone amok. Whenever you come to a certain country, you need to respect our rules, our Constitution, and the way we run things. So yes, I mean, feel free to speak what you have to speak. But the fact that this teacher is taking control of her classroom and then gets fired for saying principal, sorry, and administrator, and now she gets her contract is not renewed for saying speak English is absolutely political correctness gone amok.
And we got to run to Sally, but I want to come back. I want to talk about that because it's not the law of this country that you speak. That English is the national language.
Our Constitution gives First Amendment right.
And let's go to Sally's monitoring our social media.
Yeah, we've got some great comments coming in from our viewers right now. Omar says, this is America where everyone comes to make a better life. If you don't like it when we speak Spanish, then you should learn the language. And then Jerry has the opinion of Jackie. He says, as for the principal getting fired, I believe the school board should be next for not standing up for her.
And there's going to be a lot of people that support something like that, but we don't have a law in the state of Texas or in the national law that says English is our language.
Well, beyond that, right? I mean, I think you're right, and you can talk about policy issues, whether we should teach, how we should teach our kids, and what language we should teach our kids. Should we have dual language curriculum or not? Those are different discussions. This is a principal getting on a speaker system and telling people that on her campus you can't speak anything but English. That defies First Amendment. Our country was founded on principles, starting with the First Amendment of freedom of speech. You should be able to express yourself in any language, and our founding fathers spoke multiple languages.
Let me ask you this before we go back to Jackie, but Jackie raises a point. My family came here from Sicily, and when they immigrated to the United States, they did the same thing. We will not speak Italian anymore. I don't speak Italian today because my grandparents refused to speak it when we were growing up.
Well, do you regret not being able to speak Italian? Wouldn't that make your life richer, and wouldn't it give you more competitive business opportunities if you spoke Italian? We are a nation of immigrants. My family came as immigrants either. We were told to learn English, and we did. But that doesn't mean that you forget your other languages, and this certainly doesn't mean that in public places you can't use your other languages.
Respecting that the law of this land is not that we will only speak English, you have to appreciate the First Amendment rights of those kids, don't you?
When we come to this, I mean, if you look at a place like Fort Bend County or Sugar Land, where there are so many different languages that are spoken, when you start saying you can speak your native tongue or you can speak your language, then how will administrators actually be effective in trying to educate these students if they are all speaking so many different languages? We're just talking about Spanish in one school, but you have schools in Fort Bend County and Sugar Land where there are so many different languages that are spoken. And to answer the question that you gave to Mustafa, I am very grateful to my mother for the way that she's decided you're going to be immersed in the American culture, because as a result, my transition was much easier. And I think she gave me a lot of help and benefit by doing so.
Asking kids not to speak their language to each other in cafeteria defies logic. Not being able to speak in cafeteria.
And we're going to leave it right there. That's it for this week. Sally, we'll be back next week with the hottest stories of the week.
All right, really interesting discussion, guys. Thanks so much. Have a happy Sunday. We appreciate it.
You too.
It is now